Oliver Hollands, who is
Ollie.
184 centimeters. He's a midfielder, plays a bit of wing as well from the Murray Bush Rangers. His real sort of draft range is probably around that sort of 10 to 20. And he's someone that I think a lot have spoken about. I think if you're looking at Carlton's needs, we're needing that pace. We're needing a winger, someone that can be that outside run. If you're looking at our midfield currently, we've probably got those inside players. It's now looking for that outside. And look, Oliver Hollands, he's the best two-way runner in the draft. He won the 2K time trial at the Combine. His endurance just allows him to cover the ground, whether he sort of pushes forward with the ball in hand to set up the play on the outside, or whether that's to drop back in defense to cover, which is really that profile of the elite wingman in the AFL these days. He's really high pressure. He loves to chase, loves to tackle. And he is really good on the outside when he plays that wing role, but at times he has shown that he can go in and win his own football and be that spark kind of. And I hate comparisons. I'm really just going to do it for more maybe Carlton players, not as he is this player, but there's an element of him in that kind of like Zach Fisher mold where it goes in for a burst and hopefully produces something on the outside. That's what we've seen him do. And like if you're saying his downsides, he can lack a bit of physicality and some strength, and his inside contested ball isn't amazing, but compared maybe to a Lockie O'Brien, his contested ball winning is better, and he definitely has that physicality in wanting to do it. It's just probably at times his body isn't there. So I think as far as that outside midfielder, is probably the best that should be available at our selection. I don't think anyone will take him higher than our draft pick. Next one is one of my favorites. Maybe doesn't suit a need, but I just need to talk about him. It is Lachlan Cowan. So you'll love getting a Lachlan across. I know we've already got a couple in the team. 187 centimeters, a defender, but he can also play a bit of midfield, a bit of wing, to be honest, which is where maybe I'm shoehorning him in from the Tassie Devils, which you absolutely love to see.
Oh, we do love that.
I love him.
I need to love.
Last year, the player I probably fell in love with in the draft was Darcy Wilmot as a bit of a rebounding defender. I feel like everyone's now fallen in love with him at Brisbane. This year, Lachlan Cowan. So my track record on that so far, small sample size, pretty good, I will say. Now, while we don't, as I mentioned, maybe don't need that rebounding halfback, I just love this guy's skill set. And you could push him maybe more into a wing role, or potentially he could do a bit of both, play a bit of halfback, allow Doc to float into that midfield if needed. This guy, consistency is everything. Every single game I saw him play impressed me. I never saw him really do anything wrong. It was just constantly providing good stuff. He's super accurate, and he's got that long boot. Him and Jason Gilby, I mentioned for the Allies, were kind of tandem running off that halfback and wing at times. But this guy was definitely that step above, particularly with that ball use. And he just loves to have the ball in hand, take the game on. He's quite attacking, but if you need him to defend, he's shown he can do that as well and be accountable, run back in that two-way running. But also that other reason I love him is apparently just leadership. He's been captain of multiple teams.
Oh, yeah.
And it's those little things you hear. It's, again, not something I know heaps about. I'm not in the inside walls, but you talk about those little things that we're looking for, and it's the leadership. It's that wanting to drive for success. Totally. He ticks all those boxes. Like, he could be a future captain of a team because of everything that's spoken about his leadership. And I think that with his running, with his foot skills, even though he's probably more suited to a halfback, why not just bring in talent and go for it and see if he can play on that wing? Go for him. Jaxon Binns, 182 centimeters from Dandenong Stingrays. This guy really excited me, particularly late in the year. He's definitely below Hollands as like one of the next best wingers, but he's probably, as far as like hard running, two-way running midfielders, he's probably the next best from Hollands, to be honest. He has spent a lot of time forward as well, which has shown a bit of versatility of being able to kind of be that half forward, be that winger, do a bit of both, which probably complements something that we're looking for. He's got that speed and just that run that I think we lack. Downside, and it's a big downside, is his kicking. It's his kicking. There's a tendency to turn the ball over, or unfortunately, like, he knows what he wants to do and the player will be there in the lead and he'll kick it near the player, but he doesn't nail the player. It'll either be to his feet or just a bit to the side. And I know we're a bit wayward in our kicking. We've got some players that we want to shore up the ball use. At the moment, Jaxon Binns is a little bit wayward, is a little bit all over the place with his disposal, but he just has no issues finding the ball. Like when he's in the forward line, when he's on the wing, it just seems to be around it. He's got that explosiveness, that speed that he looks exciting and he can impact games with that outside run. Just lacks that bit of polish, which is why he's going in that second round. That's why he's not going to be that first round pick. He could even honestly float a lot further than like our draft pick. I tend to have him rated 5 to 10 draft picks higher than I've seen some others rate him at the moment. Just because I love his speed, and I feel like he's got some good attributes that can be match winning ability, which is why I rate some guys higher. But yeah, it's just that downside of his kicking that it hurts you. Harry Lemmey. He's another
Lemmey.
It's an interesting one.
I like it.
He's 202 centimeters. He's a key forward from West Adelaide. So they're brewing these guys from everywhere. And another guy, as I said, highly rated in the start of the year, fell away throughout the season. Had an incredible 2021, which saw him basically be one of the top draft picks earlier in the season. Really struggled to put it together, struggled for consistency, had some injuries, he's battled some illness, and maybe that has been the reason he hasn't had that strong footing. His strengths really are his leading patterns and his football smart. So maybe the inverse of a Scully. The raw attributes aren't maybe as good, but he tends to play a little bit better. It's been a weird one watching him play. At times he shows something, but he just looks like he doesn't have the confidence. I don't know what it is. I've heard some little murmurs around saying his competitiveness hasn't been there, and that's been a factor in why he just hasn't been as good this season. But he's got some sort of raw traits there, which could be a decent pickup. Like worst case, this guy, he's on the list for 2 years, doesn't do anything, but there's a chance that he becomes a handy key forward for you if you need him.